Hello, everyone. Welcome to Folks Journey Across the Bridge. It's me, Fausia. Hope you guys are doing well. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. There always seems to be this pause. That's like a month, or I think now it's been like a few months now. But do forgive me. I've been meaning to come and do an update video and on my healing journey. So yeah, here I am. So I wanted to rock my Quebec shirt that I took from one of my favorite basketball players. And yeah, so let's do 3 conscious breaths. So first, welcome to Folks Journey Across the Bridge. This is where I am doing my healing work, going from my mind, returning to the center of my core, returning back to my heart, and operating from a heart-centeredness, of course, being conscious and using logic, but really operating from the heart. So that's my journey to heal myself so that I can continue to return to my heart and operate from there. So let's do this 3 wonderful conscious breaths. Okay, let's go. Okay. Of course, the 3 conscious breaths is to center myself so that as I talk to you guys, I am not just rambling on, that I am grounded in the truth of who I am, that I am allowing myself to speak from my higher consciousness rather than just speak from my ego self. So yeah, how are you guys doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? I have to say, for me, the journey over the last 3 months has been very challenging. And along the way, I have learned to surrender. When I was faced with past fears that, that I have been used to, that would reoccur often, I had to continue to not give in to it, or not, well, first I observed it. I tuned in to see what was fear trying to tell me, what was the message. And then, of course, I just refused to stay in it, to stay in the fear. And so I surrendered to whatever the outcome that fear said was going to happen. So I said, okay, fear, if this is the outcome, let it happen, since I've done everything that I possibly can do in my control, with my abilities. If I've done everything that I could do, and I'm still not getting the result that I would prefer to receive at those moments, not right now, right? At those moments, then it was like, it was just too much resistance that has already taken place. So the outcomes of things that were inevitable, or that I had assumed were inevitable, were the ones that I had feared. And the more I leaned into it and said, if this is where we're going, I'm not going to be like in resistance the whole time. I'm just going to let go and surrender. And the surrendering is like, it's no longer you're pulling against like this stretchy rubber band that it's like sooner or later going to pop and just hurt you, right? It's going to break and whatever. So I just surrendered. And along the way, I continued to surrender. And it really tested my faith. My faith was absolutely tested. And it was a good thing, because I needed to know that I wasn't all the way leaning and trusting God the way that I should, and I wasn't trusting that that I was provided for, that I was protected, and that it was bigger than me, and that I am part of a bigger scheme of of events, and that I wasn't this like isolated small cell that was just in the planet and facing the harsh winter. No, that I am part of a bigger plan, and within that bigger plan there is an outcome that will come in my favor. And so even the stretching my faith was something I needed. So even though it seemed like the events were so negative, the fact that I was being stretched, I needed that. I needed to be stretched in that way so that I could understand my strength, so that I can understand God better. Like, I always feel like I know God, but the more I'm tested, the more I'm like, oh, I know God even more better than before. And so I know when people are always saying like, it's a good thing when you're being stretched or tested to grow your faith. I always felt like, why would that be a good thing? Why can't it be another way to learn? So for me, even though that was one of the circumstances where I was being taught, I also know that there are other options. And maybe because I was in resistance early on is why it took more of a recovery period for me. But had I surrendered earlier on, it would have been less painful. So this is me on my journey, on my healing journey. So welcome to Fo's Journey Across the Bridge, the healing series. And are you doing your healing work? How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? There's few things that I wanted to come and talk to you guys about. Of course, right now they slipped my mind. But what I did want to come talk to you guys about was I was just praying, and then I had this aspect of me, and if it's not me, then I cut the attachment. I released this energy from me, but I really felt this woman that I am, this Chadian woman that I am, this African woman that I am, like sit within me, like I sat within myself. And then the first thought I had was like, I really love who I am. I really love how I identify. I really love who I am as a Chadian woman. And interesting enough, I always felt like I didn't really have an example of what a Chadian woman looked like that I had admired, because my mother is not from Chad, right? And so I didn't have, my aunts from my father's side that were examples that I could aspire to. And if there were ones, I didn't really know them. And so from seeing different Chadian women growing up, and even in my young adulthood, there were qualities that I had seen that I had liked. And then I kind of it was almost like I knew how to sit within that. I knew how to sit within me. And so it almost feels like it was something that, it's almost like something that wasn't a part of me, and only because I needed first to create the identity of the wounded child. I needed first to let her become, right? Because when you experience so much trauma, it's not a loss of identity, because you never really develop your identity as a kid. And so I had to allow the identity of who she was, of who I was as a kid, to first pick the different pieces of ourself and get those fragmented parts into whole, and then just continuing to do the healing work. And I think many times I kind of felt like what is the word, like an imposter, because here I am as a grown adult as what we classify as a grown adult once you reach a certain age and so on. But it was the healing of the wounded child that still needed to take place, right? To reach this, finally allowing her to rest so then the woman can emerge. And over the period of the years where I've been doing my healing work, that's what's been taking place. Slowly but surely, the woman that I am has been emerging. And so I never really, like, I can identify growing up in North America, I can identify as, you know, being exposed to the North American culture and picking aspects of that. But somehow it always felt like a Chinese woman was someone else, like it wasn't me. And I didn't know how to incorporate my culture, incorporate my roots, incorporate who I am into what I was becoming. And so I feel like just having that like stepping into it just so naturally without even searching for it or without even realizing like now is time. It's almost like that future self. It's like that future self right now in the present moment. And it's not like an act that you do. It's not like okay, you see others who have done it and so you do that. But it's like a knowing. It's a knowing of who I am. It's a knowing of my preference. It's a knowing of how I want to be with myself and others. It's a knowing of how I like to receive people, how I like to carry myself, how I want to show up as the elder that I am for the young ones in my family, how I am the elder for my children. Just like I'm not sure if I'm explaining it correctly, but it's like, it's not a mask. It's almost like I had taken all the masks off, and before I knew it, there I was. And it was just like in a snap of a finger, there I am. And I don't want to be anything else but her. I don't want to be anything else but me. Fully operating from who I am, my roots, where I come from, who I know myself to be. And I think the wounded inner child within me had wrestled with it so long, like coming from Africa, going to the US, living in Canada, and just trying to like self-identify and getting married and then the role play of what a Chadian woman should be, a Chadian wife should be, and then role playing into just role playing, and then along the way realizing all along I was there, all along there was many aspects of it that came so easily to me because I wasn't role playing. That's just who I am. And so I love that. I love that it's not a role that I am putting on for a husband or a community or whomever, or even like how I show up at work. So being this woman that I am and being single and being ready for the new chapter, I am bringing me, all aspects of me, knowing that that new chapter is gonna have all aspects of me. Like my next partner is not gonna have a version that was not fully sure, or a version that was still needing to heal so much of childhood wounds. Like I've been doing the work of healing my inner child and I'm still doing the work, but here I am. If you ask me who I am, and if you ask me what is a Chinese woman, I would tell you that I am her. And so first, that's something that I wanted to share with you guys as part of my growth, as part of my healing, because when you're doing the healing work, you will get to the places and spaces where you will start to realize, do I have an identity? Do I have a do I have my own recognition of self? Do I know who I am? Apart from the pain, apart from the trauma, apart from the attack, apart from the abuse, apart from all the dysfunction that, that I went through, who am I? And it's almost like finally just resting into knowing, into home, just resting into that. And not trying to be anything for anyone, trying to please anyone, or try to come across as anyone, and being just so proud, being so proud and so confident and so capable of showing up as me, no matter where, as me. And knowing that that is sufficient, that I don't have to wear a different cloth, I don't have to wear a different type of garment, I don't have to cover and hide me, that I can show up as me, and that I know who me is. And when others are meeting me, they get to meet the authentic me, the real me. And an aspect of that is my culture. So a huge, it's almost like, I don't think you can separate the two. I don't think it's a way of being. It's a way of being. And so, yeah, I love that. I love that I've come to this arrival. Like I've arrived here in this knowing, in this confirmation of self. And so, and from this being is where I will operate from. And that excites me, and that empowers me, and that just gives me so much joy, because it's like a natural way of being. Like I know what that is. I know how to be that, right? So it seems like not only was there an identity that I had to create for the wounded child, but this aspect of me as a woman, as a chatting woman, is like, no one has to tell me this. No one has to tell me this, because I already know. Along the way, I was being her. I was being me. And everyone can show up on their own version of what that means. But me, I'm sitting with ease. I'm sitting with ease, and that identification and that awareness of my being. And so I'm not taking it to this grander explanation of we're on this planet as spirits experiencing, the human experience as a soul, all of that. I know that part from the moment that I had become aware of that. It was easy for me to operate from there. So my light is kind of, come on, turn back on. Well, anyways, so it was easy for me to know that, because it was like I had connection to my higher self. So I just knew, I've always known, and it was almost like, oh, finally I can have confirmation that aligned with what I already knew. So this higher consciousness of we're spirit having a human experience as a soul, and or so on, or whichever you put first, I knew that. Come on, I want my light to turn back on. Okay, let's see. I don't know if it's the battery. Anyways, it will turn back on when it's ready to turn back on. So yeah, so that's something I wanted to come share with you guys. And oh yes, so I was being triggered. And there's different areas that had triggered me, and I would go, okay, why are you responding this way with that? And then I understood, like, okay, well, anyways, even if someone was doing something that was meant to kind of like be aimed at me or whatever, like I was kind of like tuning it off. And by doing that, I was like, why were you doing that? And it was just me understanding, like, I don't have to tune into things that are deliberately like being placed on my path. I could just mute it, right? And also, like, just taking the positive to it and looking at it like, well, it could just be something that you can look as an inspiration. What is it inspiring you to do, or how is it inspiring you to show up? And then the most recent one was not having a decision go in my favor. But what's interesting is I never wanted that outcome anyways. And then so when I had the outcome, I was like, okay, I can ease into this. And the moment that I start saying, oh, this is not so bad, I can hang around here for a while, then life just throws this other curveballs like, no, this is a temporary space, we're not keeping you here, get up, go forward. And that, and the way that it was handled and the way that I was like handled made me feel unwelcomed, made me feel unwanted, made me feel dismissed, unvalued, all of those things. And then I was like getting irritated, but then I was like, well, pushing those emotions away. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you pushing what you're feeling? Because I felt like it didn't make sense, or they were not appropriate emotions. But I'm like, no, they are. You are feeling what you're feeling. Allow yourself to feel it instead of dismissing it like this is the wrong emotion. No, it's not the wrong emotion, right? And so the more I allowed myself to feel it and so on, then I started to think, okay, well, what is it triggering for you? What is it bringing up for you, right? So the not being valued and not being considered and not being included and not being seen, or not, it's almost like the exclusion of it. And so I was like, okay, this obviously is there to serve me. This, and then I read a post that said it could be bringing it up for you to see, and these are things I know, right? Is bringing things that are ready to be healed, to be released. And I'm like, man, I get that. So while I was getting mad at whomever was serving this to me, I kept getting reminded, like, maybe these are old emotions that are ready to be healed that are being brought up. And so even now, as I talk to you guys about it, I think, wow, those were disgusting feelings to have. They felt so disgusting. They felt so belittling. They felt so small. They felt like you're nothing. So imagine me having that inside of me, like being treated like you're nothing, being treated like you're not important, being treated like you're not of value, like, and just dismissed and not. It's such a nasty feeling. And so as that was being triggered by circumstances, I was getting mad at the people that were behaving that way, not realizing that they were really demonstrating and causing the emotions that I had buried within me to come to the surface so I can acknowledge them. And even as I did, not so much to the point right now where I am sharing with you guys, right? I'm realizing, oh, what a disgusting feeling it was. And so it did need to come out. There might be more of it in the next 2 days or so. But so far, it's been so disgusting. I can't understand why people behave that way, and that I inflicted on others in my current life, in my past life, and is being taught back to me. Maybe, I don't know. And I'm not saying like they're wrong and I'm good and why are they behaving that way. But I don't know when in my life I experienced this. So this current situation is bringing it up, right? But I felt so sad. I kept feeling like a little bit of upset and then a little bit of sadness. And then I kept thinking, okay, what is this here to teach me? I can tell you right now that my wounded the wounded child, the wounded me as a kid. She experienced so much of that. Not being seen, not being valued, being dismissed, being ignored. Oh my God, it's like, I want to say so much. Why do people behave that way? But I know, like, it's meant to teach me something, you know? And it just made me feel so sad that we could treat each other that way, that we could do that to one another. So I am sorry. I am sorry, and I am sorry. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. I love you and thank you, and I'm not sure if I've said it in the right order, but it's awful to treat someone that way. So I'm sorry for having done it. I don't know when I've done it. I don't want to do it. I don't want it done to me. And we have to treat each other better. We have to treat each other better. And we all are like teaching each other lessons, right? We are inflicting pain on one another, but those are the contracts that we made to teach our soul how to grow past these lessons, to, you know, to kind of take the exam of life. And I didn't like it. And so I think my challenge for the next couple of days is to hold love and compassion. Like, I want to cry right now. Is to hold love and compassion for those that are projecting that towards me. I know that I'm not deserving of it, and I know that they have it within them, so for them it makes sense to do it. And I hope that where I am, where this is being done and projected to me, that I can be a light so that they can see their behavior and hopefully heal it, because obviously someone has done it to them, and it's just this vicious cycle that we just continue to inflict on one another. And I was like trying not to be upset about it. I was trying not to show sadness, because I know, like, with my sensitivity to like just tuning into myself and allowing my natural emotions to show, I knew I would be crying, and I was like, that would be the last place where I would want to cry, right, in such a setting. But could you imagine how much of pain someone has to be going through, or how much of rejection that they experience, how much of like unloving behavior were projected towards them, how they were unvalued, how they were unseen, and all of that. And to just project it. I didn't, you know what I was saying to myself? I was like, I didn't do nothing to deserve this. I'm not deserving of this. And so I'm basically just like, oh, I don't like, oh, like, why? I'm just like, I keep saying to myself, like, why are you doing that? Like, oh, don't do that. And sometimes it could be that when you're not listening to God telling you you're in the wrong place, sometimes you get situations like that to kind of usher you out of that place, to say, okay, and you're like, man, I don't want to be in this space here. Man, I don't want to experience that. And you get to be ushered forward, like ushered elsewhere. And that could be one of the reasons too. And so as I had found myself in that space, I kept thinking, God, even before all of this, I kept thinking, God, even before, like, even though it was subtle, it wasn't as loud as now. So even before, behaviors getting loud where they were disgusting, I was like, God, I'm sure I'm here for something. You asked me to be here probably to shine my light. What is it that needs my light? Who needs my light? What am I shining the light on? What's the purpose of me being in that space? And for the life of me, I couldn't figure it out. And so, of course, here we are. And even though, like, this rough waters or whatever that's happening, I still, like, wasn't seeing the whole purpose of, like, those behaviors. As I'm talking to you guys, as I'm sitting here talking to myself and hoping that what I'm saying may also help you and serve you, I'm realizing that that's one of the main reasons why I was placed in that space there, is to let my light shine so that those people can see their behaviors, so they could be challenged to shake those old emotions. Like, it's doing it for me. I got triggered, and doors were opening within me to allow those hurts to find a way out, for me to see it, address it, and release it. And sometimes I would say address it, not to the point where, like, judge it or anything, but like to look at it. And so that's, for me, that's what was being offered. And then for those people, it's like me seeing their behavior and finally understanding, like, I'm shining the light on that. I'm shining the light on that. And sometimes it happens just right in your face, and sometimes it happens in other people's faces too, but they can't really speak up because it would jeopardize their livelihood, or it would jeopardize their ways to be able to provide for themselves. So they have to just look the other way, or they don't see it, or sometimes maybe because they're so accustomed to it, they think is normal, where someone is being standoffish, or a group of people are being standoffish to, like, I just kept thinking, like, oh, why me? This sucks. But at the same time, I was observing how others were able to be completely themselves, and I was, like, not even really given, like, this acknowledgement of my presence in that space. And I'm just observing and observing of how receptive they were of others being themselves and showing up as themselves, to the point where I'm like, oh, so it is allowed to be yourself. You are allowed to show up as your authentic self. And then in the same token, I'm getting you're not valued enough to be seen, to be acknowledged, really, to be honored. And so as I'm seeing that, I'm being triggered, right? But I have to tell you, in that environment, God had picked the right person for this. Because sometimes I go, God, why me? Like, why you keep giving me these challenges? Why are you putting me through this? And who better than me? Because once I go through it, not only can I speak about it, I can help someone else navigate through it. I can shine the light on it. I can also agree with someone when they say they've been through such and such treatment. And so, is it about punishing those who are mistreating me or others? It's about shining the light so that those people can know they are hurt, and they are continuing to take this hurt and they are spreading it. Or even if they're doing it intentionally, to say you're doing this intentionally. Whether it's intentional or subconscious, it needs the light to shine on it. And so, because I have done so much of the work, because I'm still doing so much of my healing, it's why I can sit there and say, oh, yes, you can show up as your authentic self. Look, others are doing it. And at the same time, I can sit there and see the subtle mistreatment or the subtle unwelcoming, the lack of hospitality. And so, and it's not the first time I've experienced the lack of hospitality many times. And could you imagine that a home has been part of my core of a part of my purpose on earth, not just creating a peaceful and welcoming home for myself, but just the journey to that, right? Like, so much of the struggle that I've had and the challenges has been around home and housing and the comfort and peacefulness of a home, and going into certain spaces and not feeling, and it doesn't have to be just a home, it could be any space, stepping in it and not feeling welcomed, and looking for a safe place to be welcomed. And then, beautiful enough, I end up being able to sit within myself and welcoming my true identity, welcoming myself within my own home, within my own body, within my own being. And then accepting what I see, allowing the pain of not being welcomed in homes and spaces when I was a kid, allowing myself to really feel that and to feel the sadness of that, how that really made me sad, feeling like I didn't belong. And then to be now triggered by a current circumstance that makes me feel like I don't belong. And so whether I'm too big with my light to belong there, and I don't plan on shrinking ever again, and it could just be like I'm too big for that space. It was a temporary space as God is bringing me in transition forward, that He paused me there because that place needs my light. Maybe one person there needs my light. Maybe there's a reason I was requested to show up there by divine. And I'm gonna take the time to be with myself and allow myself to cry the tears of this sadness of not belonging, of not being welcomed, and not developing this coldness of like, well, I don't need, I don't need it. No, I do need it. Everybody needs community. Everyone needs to find a place where they feel like they belong, a place where they naturally fit in. They don't have to try to prove themselves. They don't have to try to be something they're not, where they just show up as self, as they are. Show up as you are. And I know that this is something and I'm sure Islam has a similarity, but I heard this being said by Jesus in the Bible. I believe it says, if you do not reject me in front of man, then I will not deny you in front of God. And so to me, it's that, like the private club, or the rejection of like, do you not see me? Do you not see that I am made of God's light? Do you not see that God lives within me? Do you not see me? And because I carry myself as more than what others think of me. I carry myself as one who carries the light. So I have this expectation that others see my light, that others see my heart, that others see my purpose, see what I am really here to do and serve, that they recognize me. And when I have experiences where I get people turning their back and they don't recognize me, it's a bit hard. It's a bit heartbreaking. It's a bit, but it's not like it's, when the heart is already open, right? It doesn't break the heart open. It's almost like it's stretching. It's heart stretching. It's heart stretching. And so what I'm looking to doing is to hold love and compassion for them, because to go into judgment of them means that I don't know better, and I do know better. I know that who they really are at their core is love. I know that part of their purpose is to trigger this in me so that I can stretch my heart even more, stretch it open even more, so the rest of this yucky, disgusting past emotion can come out. So they are definitely doing me a great service. They are definitely doing their part. And I pray that in them doing their part, that I don't condemn them. Because this is the agreement that they and I had. That they would trigger this in me in this stage in my life, and then I would stretch wide open. I feel like when God gets me to this place where I grow beyond the ability that I knew I could grow past, like, I'm always wowed and fascinated that I can grow that much, because I feel like this is what they keep talking or teaching, is like to love your enemy. And I'm like, what do you mean love your enemy? It's like, it's not about allowing your enemy to continue to attack or inflict harm on you. It's about holding compassion, even for the person who is being the meanest to you. Because that was the agreement that my soul and their soul has made. We made that agreement that in this stage I would shine the light so that they can see themselves, their reflection of their behavior, and that for me in return, that I would grow in my ability to hold and have compassion, not just for myself, but for others, even those who don't show me love and compassion. So I am surprised at myself to arrive here, because I wanted to be mad. I wanted to call the people that I usually confide in and say, can you know, and I think I did a little bit, But could you imagine, like, so on and so on? But that's like constantly taking me out of my path, constantly taking me out of like the truth of who I know I am, is taking me away from what I know. Like, I know too much to continue to return to this small-mindedness of these people are mistreating me. I know too much to only look at it from that lens. I have to have an expansive lens that allows me to really know what's happening. It's happening. And I couldn't stand this phrase before. I couldn't stand it. It's like it's happening for me and not to me. Because I keep trying to play small. I keep trying to fit into spaces and places and things and situations that I've outgrown. And I continue to do that because I lack in faith, because I let fear convince me, because I let circumstances bully me. And I refuse to play small. I refuse to shrink back into me when I know that I am large and expansive, when I know I am bigger than life itself, when I know my power, when I know my light, when I know my purpose, when I know that I'm just trusting, and then knowing of who I am and who created me, that everything is working out for me, that everything will work out for me, that everything is already working out for me. And I have to stop taking a coward approach. I have to stop taking a coward option. I have to push through the thing that which I fear the most, and I must choose it still. That I have to feel the fear, and I have to do it anyways. And so I've been terrified for so long of life, of living, of experiencing, of truly giving my heart, of truly investing my heart in that which I do, in any and everything that I do. And I give it the best of my skills and abilities, but not my heart. I don't truly pursue those desires of my heart. And because of that, I continue to be sidetracked, to be on a detour, to be going on paths and finding myself in spaces where people have to remind me the harsh way. You don't belong here. Not in the mean way, like you don't belong here. Not that way. It's like a reminder. It's like a reminder from, oh my God. It's a reminder of echoing from my ancestors, from my grandmother, from my soul, from my inner child screaming at me, don't do this again, don't go on this detour again. Oh my God. Don't go off your path. again, this screaming, and this scream is coming through these people and these spaces that are ignoring me and give me their backs, and in hopes that I won't stay there, in hopes that I'll take it as a loud confirmation and then I go forth, that I stop settling in places and spaces that are too small for me, out of fear that I overstay my welcome, that I stay too long, that I delay, that I don't go forward towards the door that's opening, that I instead let fear convince me to stay somewhere and be small, when everything in me is calling me and pulling me forward and screaming at me to go forward. And so this experience of you're not welcome here, it's a gift. It's a gift for me because I don't belong there. And their mean way of saying it is their way of saying it in the most loving of ways. If I can just see it with my heart, if I can just receive it with my higher consciousness, if I can just get the message, if I can just get the clue. They were really telling me that I don't belong there, because I don't. And it is loving. It is loving, and it is meant for me to say thank you. Thank you for honoring me. Thank you for honoring your truth. Thank you for telling me. Thank you for being courageous enough to tell me in the best way you knew how. And forgive me for misjudging your intention. Forgive me for not understanding the message, for missing the clue and missing the message altogether. Forgive me for that. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you for allowing me to open my heart even more, to open my heart up, and to know what you're trying to tell me, and I receive it. I receive the message. Thank you. I've heard you. I receive it. I am grateful to you. You have my full attention. God, you have my full attention. I don't want to play small anymore. I don't want to stay in places and spaces that I have outgrown, that are not going to help me serve your purpose for me on this planet. You have a purpose for my life on this earth, God, and I am ready to 100% step into it. I am honored that you chose me for this purpose. I am honored. I am honored, and I am not going to let fear stop me anymore, and I am not going to let fear get in the way. I'm going to stand strong in my faith, and I'm going to trust and surrender to you, God. I am going to trust and surrender to you, God, for this mission, this purpose that you have on my life. I trust you. Thank you for bringing me to this place and this space that you knew would get my attention. You knew that their standoffish behavior would, especially in this stage in my life with my level of awareness and consciousness, that I would get it, that I would put the puzzle pieces together, and that I would understand the message, God, that I would understand what you are trying to tell me, that you are telling me to go forth. and not to play small and not to be scared and to go for the passion and desires of my heart and to go towards your mission for my life and to go forward towards the calling that you have for me. I am grateful. I am blessed and I am lucky to have been chosen by you, God. Thank you so much, God. Ya Allah, thank you. Alhamdulillah. I had no clue that I would be sitting here in front of you guys and peeling this onion wide open. I literally had warmed up my food and hoped to come and do a 30-minute video. And I said, I can't eat and then go do the video. I have this on my heart. I need to come and share it with you guys now. And then it just took me to a place of healing. It healed me. It opened me open, wide open. It has given me so much clarity. So much clarity. And I feel so blessed and so courageous that I can offer this type of view, that I can see people in a loving and compassionate way even when they are not being their best self. That I can continue to step into love and compassion towards them. This is a gift that was just given to me. You saw how this gift just came to life. Right here in your eyes, you saw how this gift was just given to me. And even though I had practiced it here and there, it was always on a small scale. But I feel like the scale in which I can now offer love and compassion for others is bigger than me. So much bigger than me. I don't want to live through fear anymore. I don't want to live constantly being afraid of what if life went exactly as you planned. That there were rainbows some days and some days it was cloudy. That there was this big slide that took you from one cloud to the next, and there was the sun that shined, and there was all these different colors, these different hues of colors that came through. What if all of that was you? What if all of that is your story? What if all of that is the perfect description of you? What if you lived life to the fullest? What if you didn't hold your breath every time? What if you stopped holding your breath? What if you lived knowing that you won't die from experiences? What if you lived? What if you truly lived? What would your life be like if you truly lived? What if you put all the pain of the past away? What if you put all the fear of what could be aside? What if you put it away and you truly lived? What if you lived? What if you felt your heart at 100% again? What if you had 100% of your heart again? What if you could feel all the love in it again? Not a partial, not a portion of it. What if you could feel all of it? Would you choose that? Would you choose that, or will you just stay hidden within yourself because it's too painful to face the past? Because it was too painful to go forward? Go forward for you. Go forward for you, for all of you. For 1 year old you, 6 months, while you're still in the tummy. 10-year-old you, 15. Every aspect of you. What if you go forward for you, for all of you, with all aspects of you? What if you can feel every aspect of you. Would it be worth it to do the work? Would it be worth it to heal yourself? Would it be worth it to find the strength and courage to face the pain of the past, to release it and to heal yourself, to reclaim all of you? Look, I can't even remove my hand from my heart because it feels so good to tune into it. This is me. This is all of me. And me being rejected. And me being ignored. I was standing tall with myself. I was choosing myself still. I was valuing myself still. I was loving myself. I was not running away and hiding. Not like I did before in the past when I was a kid. Or other times in my young adult experiences. I chose not to run and hide this time. This time I chose to stay loving me and not become bitter towards them, but instead to grow and have love and compassion. I grew and I had love and compassion for them. I kept me fully present within my being, all aspects of me, when I was not being valued and appreciated. And at the same time, I was able to hold love and compassion for others as they were mistreating me. And I did not let it make me bitter. Alhamdulillah. 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 I'm grateful for me. I'm grateful for where I am. I know that with this level mindedness is only going to serve me for the better. I am so grateful for me, for who I am. I'm grateful for my groundedness. I'm so grateful for my groundedness, for my anchored, to be anchored in the knowing of who I am. I am anchored in the knowing of who I am. I know who I am. No matter what's happening outside of me, I know who I am. And I will no longer hide that. And I will no longer shrink that self that I am and hide her inside no more. Thank you for allowing me to share my journey with you guys. Thank you for allowing me to share my healing journey. It does not always look pretty, but when you get to the other side of doing the work of healing and releasing past pain, old wounds, you get to this even more beautiful aspect of yourself that emerges. And then you just get to stand in this loveliness of how beautiful you are, how beautiful life is. You can see how much you are blooming. You get to bloom. You get to see the vibrant colors of who you are, of life, of others. When others are showing you their pain, don't let their pain cause you to inflict pain onto them. Instead, when you see others misbehaving and they are showing their level of pain that they have within themselves, I invite you to hold love and compassion within yourself and extend it towards them. it feels much more better to have love and compassion. Even when you are in the right, even when someone has done you wrong and you are in the right. You don't have to stay and accept it. What I'm saying is, don't join them in creating more pain in the planet. Instead, hold love and compassion in your heart for yourself and for them. I am Fozia, and you are tuned into Fo's Journey Across the Bridge, the healing series. I am just showing up as I am doing my work, and I'm hoping that as I share it with you guys, that you will continue to be inspired to do your work, because your awesome soul, your awesome spirit, the awesome human that you are, deserves it, deserves healing, deserves to show up as the best version of you all the time, and just being you. I hope that you choose that. I pray that for you. I pray that you choose you and that you choose to heal. I pray that for you. May the prayer for you to heal be received, and may you have the courage, love, desire, and passion and support to begin the journey, and if you have begun the journey, to continue the healing journey. If my sharing in this video has helped you, please share this video with someone else, and may it help them. May it be of service to them as well, and may it be helpful to them. Any information that I may have shared, or any vulnerability that was displayed, I hope that it inspires them, but also triggers something in them that is ready to be healed and released. I do try to record updates. Sometimes I am not as pulled to come and record as I was today, and I'm so grateful that I was, and that I listened, and that I acted upon it. So if you do want to continue being an observer on my journey as I heal myself, you are welcome to click the notification bell so that when I do post, you are informed. Again, if this video was helpful or is helpful, click like so that I do know that you have been able to extract some type of lesson or some type of healing tool from it, so that you can apply it to your own healing journey. And thank you. I'm Fozia on my journey to heal. And you know that as long as we are living on this planet as a human on this experience, we're always going to be doing the work. The work is not over until we're no longer here. But along the way, some of the big healing needs to be done, and needs to be done sooner. I shouldn't even say that. It will come to your awareness for healing when it is the right time, and it is the right time for you to heal it. So I pray that when that door is being knocked on for you to heal a certain aspect that is ready to go, that you find the courage and strength and the confidence in your ability to find support to help you to heal and release it. I am honored to come and share my journey with you guys. So this is Fo's Journey Across the Bridge, and you take care. Bye-bye.